So after doing Track of the Moon Beast, we get a creature design upgrade, but we know we're not exactly talking about a high bar. Welcome to my channel, KC. That's me, Carrie Chug the Sledge Storyteller, here to talk about the wonderful world of storytelling. And in storytelling, talk about readily available public domain movies in the genre of kaiju. And this one's a slight bit more qualified size-wise, according to what we normally think of as kaiju.
So the year is 1955, in which a better time awaited you in watching Alfred Hitchcock's To Catch a Thief. We're in the thick of the 50s, inspired by the advent of jet-powered fighter planes, the space race, and a mysterious nuclear age where radiation becomes the basis for creating multitudes of monsters. And it came in the form of sci-fi B movies that were getting spat out left and right. Several have been considered classics, but usually they came under a low budget and a little heart. Such is the case with The Phantom from 10,000 Leagues, directed by Dan Milner, who had a nice, steady career of movies, just nothing found in the common pantheon of classics.
And yeah, we're talking about a team of brothers working together on the project, and sometimes that's a good indicator of a devoted indie project, but here it's talking about everybody working in on the cheap rather than on the ambitious.
But it all starts with a fisherman and a rowboat. In the depths, we see a mysterious light beam and the Phantom coming upward. He pulls the fisherman down, in spite of having really sharp, mean-looking teeth, does no biting, likely somewhere between due to content restrictions and practicality, but the fisherman ends up on the beach dead, his boat next to him, and we have to be told that there are radiation burns on his skin. Amid all that, biologist Dr. Ted Stevens, alias Ted Baxter, and federal agent William Grant show up separately to look into the matter. All the while, we see afar off a would-be spear gun sniper named George Thomas with unknown ulterior motives. Also, marine biologist Professor King, never a first name given, looks shifty to the two men seeking answers concerning the dead fisherman. We are introduced to his daughter Lois, which is the beginning of the expected romantic subplot between her and Ted, and his secretary Ethel shows her suspicions as he keeps operating in secretive fashion. And we do get to know how the secretly dastardly Professor King accomplished this character creation, with your basic pet turtle and a smaller version of the light being seen earlier in the ocean.
In case you're wondering, the answer is yes. The big threat in this movie is the result of a cliche, misguided scientist.
Of course, you're left wondering what the whole point of Dr. Stevens' cover as Ted Baxter served, as quickly as everyone picks up on it. After the gig is up, Dr. Stevens presses Professor King again, pointing out a beam of light coming from the ocean floor and the sea monster inhabiting the ocean floor around it. Professor King is naturally on the defensive. The plot thickens a little as George approaches a woman who has mysterious dealings, demanding that no diving should occur from the investigating men and that he find all the big scientific data. Apparently, we need a reminder of how dangerous the sea creature is as a couple get into the boat, the same boat, go scuba diving and re-emerge only to have the boat be capsized by you-know-what. Ted's investigation of the bodies is interrupted by George and an attempt to kill Ted with his spear gun. He gets the benefit of plot armor as the spear misses him, but George escapes and the spear becomes evidence between him and Grant. The two in turn get in the boat to do an investigative dive. They get the needed exposure to the sea creature and the light ray to further plot and also drag it. George meets again with Wanda, who warns that the people she works for are getting impatient. Ethel's probing gets her on the hot seat, ultimately leading to her demise by George's spear gun. In come Grant and the local police into Professor King's quarters about Ethel's death and the suspicion due to the spear guns on display. Then a final sit-down with Professor King and Ted leads to a forced development to put the professor's back against the wall, where he admits that the death ray and sea monster are his doing, but a hammy ethical dilemma ensues. After the light ray, out of nowhere, destroys an ocean liner, The professor makes that big decision that starts with a tantrum at the laboratory. George is apprehended out of nowhere, and you're left to realize that the subplot with him and Wanda went nowhere. The professor makes the fateful decision to go on a dive, dynamite in hand.
And bring on the forced moral of the story.
If I'd only known in time, perhaps I could have stopped him. I know he meant this power to be used to help humanity, not destroy it.
I'm sure he did. And he paid for his mistake.
Now, nobody watches a 50s B movie expecting a lineup of Oscar-worthy performances, but here I saw the worst acting I have seen in recent memory. Everyone phones it in, and it looks like everybody gives their lines and waits for the cue for their next line.
How did you activate it?
That, Dr. Stevens, is my knowledge and mine alone.
Now look, you can't go swimming.
I don't like being told what to do.
Seriously, these guys make the performances in Plan 9 from Outer Space look Oscar-worthy.
Your guess is as good as mine, Larry. One thing's sure. Inspector Clay's dead. Murdered. And somebody's responsible.
Now, so bad it's good. A watch party can make it work. Something to laugh at together. At the same bad acting I mentioned, along with the weird aspects like everybody using the same rowboat. Just know that it will drag at certain points. But once again, thanks to free streaming platforms, it's readily available for your viewing and educational pleasure as it's in the public domain. But that's my take on the public domain movie and Kaiju, the Phantom from 10,000 Leagues. Thanks for watching. Agree, disagree, or something I left out? Please let me know in the comments section. If you like this video, please click like. If you like this channel, please click subscribe or follow me on Instagram, or what we call now X, what used to be Twitter. And the link to order Sledge number 1 and 2 is in the description below. And it's also available on Kindle. In any case you order it, it's available on digital or paper format. Still working on Sledge number 3. I hate having to repeat myself. We've dealt with some setbacks, but I keep working for it to be a strong ending to this 3-part miniseries. And I'm keeping in touch with Tiago as he finishes the remaining pages. I'll always say it, let's all look for civility amid any bad news out there about social and political strife. Let's not hate, let's find friends. Wherever we go, everyone be safe, and God bless.